Change is inevitable, change can be scary, and yet it presents opportunities all the time. It can be far too easy to feel like a victim of circumstance when things are changing rapidly, when a lot of stuff is out of your control in your world. The Getting Things Done methodology presents a thought process that allows you to identify what is controllable in your world, to take positive action on that, and as a result, it gets you out of the victim mode and back into the driver's seat. I'm going to show you a little bit about how that works now. The Getting Things Done methodology is a comprehensive methodology. In 20 years of throwing highs, lows, good, bad, everything that life has presented to me at it, I've never found something about the system where I go, you know what, this is outside. This is outside the approach. I don't know what to do with this, a la GTD. So it's incredibly robust and it's comprehensive, but I want to show you a couple of really fundamental ways of thinking about change and thinking about things that are new in your world, that are, I think, unique to the GTD methodology and that can help you and that can help really have helped a lot of people. Fundamentally, the methodology is about getting perspective when you feel like that's what you need, getting the bigger picture, getting an understanding of how the pieces fit in your life, but it's also about getting control, tactical control, that sense of being on top of things, on your game, knowing where you're, not only where you're headed, but how to deal with that, how to actually execute on all the stuff that's coming your way in a sane manner, in a way where you feel good about the choices you're making moment to moment. So people think about uncertainty and they think, I want clarity. Well, we know what clarity isn't, right? It's blurriness, it's fuzziness, it's squishiness. And the world just seems to naturally be kind of going that way, right? Entropy is the rule. So when people think, well, I need clarity, the first thing they think about is I need clarity about where I'm headed. And yes, that's true. You need to understand sort of where's the target, where's the goal, where am I going with all of this? But just as important is to understand where you are right now, what's true, what's reality, how you're doing, and what's possible for you as you head toward various goals. So in the Getting Things Done methodology, we basically deal with gaps. We deal with gaps between what's true and what you want to be true in your life and in your world. So really, think of a time, for example, when you've been jealous of someone, right? Jealous of what they have or who they are. The reality is that's telling you, very useful information is telling you that's something that you actually want. Right? So jealousy can be an incredibly useful indicator that, you know, unless it's something they were born with, frankly, if you wanted to spend the same amount of energy or have the same kind of focus in your life, you could achieve some of those things too. And those might be important things to you. Problems are the same way. Problems of any kind that come at you identify basically an opportunity for you to look at what's going on and what you would like to be true. There's a gap there. There's a differential. And the differential itself indicates to you that in that gully, there is another side, right? That other side is what we call projects in the Getting Things Done methodology. And so for those of you that subscribe to this, those of you that use this, I can say in 2 decades of doing this, it is true that as problems come at me, I turn them into projects. And so being an effective practitioner of this methodology, you don't really have problems anymore, you just have projects. What does that mean on a practical basis? Well, you know, we all have areas of concern, lots of them. Right now, you know, a lot of stuff is up for people. If you do this simple exercise, you can start to gain some clarity about what you really can do and what you need to do around all these areas of concern. So the simple thing to do is just to list some of them out. You know, what are you concerned about? You know, travel and the economy and health and all kinds of things can show up. Then it's really important to understand and to differentiate between the aspects of those areas that are out of your control and the aspects of those areas that are in fact within your control to do something about. Getting clear about that, getting explicit about that, getting that out there in some kind of way that you can look at and recognize is equally important. And for those things that are have some element that is within your control, that it's at least 51% believable that you could do something about this situation, almost always there's some next step. Usually, frankly, the next step is pretty easy. It's pretty straightforward. You're sending an email, you're calling someone, you're doing a brainstorm, you're firing up Excel for an analysis, right? It's something you know how to do. It's something that is doable, and it's usually something reasonably bite-sized. Now, just this moment of recognition that this area of concern has led me to something that I can do in a bite-sized way to take at least one next step toward making this situation better. Just this in itself starts to get you out of victim mode and back into the driver's seat. But there's more. There's more to this. And really what we're talking about is these areas of concern. You can think of them as problems of any kind, right? And usually there's a next step, but more than a next step, there's some kind of outcome. There's some kind of endpoint on the other side of this gulf, this gap of reality between what you want to be true and what is true. And stating that in the positive, stating what we call your desired outcome in this situation, gives you an opportunity not only to take a single next step, but to keep sight of that long-term goal that you have in mind. So anything that takes multiple steps to complete, we recommend that you state a positive outcome about what completion will look like. And you'll notice we state those exactly in terms of what the finish line is, exactly in terms of what done actually is. That way your brain, as you're reviewing this periodically on your way toward that particular project getting done, is constantly being orientated toward the positive, toward what success looks like, toward what the good outcome is for you. And so at the end of the day, it is still possible in bizarre circumstances to get things done, to have a lot of the things you still want in your life, at least as qualities, if not as the exact experience. It just may look a little different, right? Things may look a little different than the way you expected them to look. But by getting a handle on all the different areas of concern in your life, not only when crises hit, right, but throughout your life. People say, I want more balance. I want work-life balance. Well, that's, two nice areas. But frankly, there's a lot of areas in your life that you need to balance and you need to mind and you need to keep track of. And many of these areas, if they're out of balance, if they're not working right for you, again, you don't have a problem. You just have a project here to initiate. So the method really gives kind of two major messages of hope, I think. One is that you can control what's controllable, right? If it is believably within your control, you can do what can be done about circumstances and situations in your life, stop feeling like a victim, and make some positive change happen for yourself. The other is that you're focusing on positive outcomes. You're focusing on what you do want to be true in the midst of potentially a whole lot of stuff out there that you really wish wasn't happening right now. So GTD, the Getting Things Done methodology, is a message of hope. It is a message that, we're all in this together trying to figure out how to enact positive change in circumstances and in times that really we've never experienced for ourselves in our generation before. But having a system, having an approach, having a thought process that allows you to take those areas of concern, big, small, whatever they may be, and turn them into meaningful action is to me something absolutely invaluable, absolutely critical in our times and perhaps in any time. So this is an approach that I've found that's helped me turn countless problems into projects. I hope it's useful to you by way of some of these practical examples and just talking it through for a few minutes. If any of this seems useful to you, I recommend that you check out the entire Getting Things Done methodology. It is full, it is comprehensive. This is one little piece that I'm just hoping will help you get through some difficult times. Good luck.